Have you always felt a little different? Like you're operating on a slightly different wavelength than everyone else? If that sounds even a little bit familiar, then this is for you.
If you've always felt like you just don't quite fit in anywhere, I really want you to hear this. That is not a personality flaw.
Actually, psychology has a totally different take. It suggests your brain might simply work differently than most people's. So let's dig into what that actually means.
You look around and some people just seem to breeze through life. But for others, it feels like you're constantly adjusting, adapting, or even masking parts of yourself just to get by. Does any of this sound familiar? Maybe you've been told you're too sensitive, or too intense, too quiet, maybe even too much, or somehow at the same time not enough. But what if those feelings, those labels, aren't a sign that you're broken? What if it just means you're wired differently? So, we're going to walk through 7 signs that your brain might not work like most people's. And, more importantly, why that is absolutely not a weakness.
All right, let's jump right in. Sign number 1. You feel things way more deeply than other people seem to.
Emotions just seem to hit you harder, right? Well, it's not because you're being dramatic. It's because your brain is literally processing information more intensely. Psychologists actually call this high emotional sensitivity. It means you don't just feel an emotion, you analyze it, you remember it, and you connect it to a deeper meaning. Now, I know that depth can feel overwhelming at times, for sure, but here's the flip side of that coin. It's also the source of incredible empathy and profound insight.
Okay, let's move on to sign number 2, which is totally related. You need more time alone to reset.
Social interaction seems to drain your battery way faster than it does for others. And look, this isn't because you dislike people. It's because your brain is on high alert during interactions. It's constantly processing tone, subtext, and emotions. So for you, solitude isn't avoidance, it's regulation. It's essential maintenance, like plugging in your phone to recharge. Okay, on to sign number 3. I have a feeling a lot of us are going to relate to this one. You overthink conversations long after they're over. You know the drill. You replay moments in your head. You wonder what someone really meant by that comment. Now, the common misconception here is that this is just insecurity. But the reality? It's a sign of deep cognitive processing. Your brain doesn't just skim your experiences, it studies them. This brings us right to sign number 4. You really struggle in shallow environments. Small talk can feel absolutely draining, can't it? Loud, chaotic spaces might feel like a total assault on your senses. And that high-pressure, fast-paced environment at work, it probably shuts you down instead of motivating you. That's because your nervous system just prefers depth over speed. You don't thrive on constant stimulation. You thrive on meaning. Next up, sign number 5. You tend to question norms that other people just seem to accept without a second thought. You don't just blindly follow routines, traditions, or expectations because, well, that's just how it's done. Your brain automatically hits pause and asks this really important question. Wait, does this actually make sense? Now, that kind of critical thinking can sometimes make you feel out of place, but it's also a huge marker of independent intelligence. Let's look at sign number 6. And this can be a tough one. You're harder on yourself than anyone else is. You probably notice your own flaws almost instantly, and you replay your mistakes for way longer than is helpful. But this isn't because you're weak, it's because your self-awareness is exceptionally high. And while the downside of that is definitely a tendency towards self-criticism, the upside is incredibly powerful. It's the engine for real, meaningful growth. And finally, sign number 7. This one might just bring it all together. You've always felt a little bit out of sync with the world. You mature differently, you burn out differently, you even love differently. It just feels like you're not following the standard timeline for life. And that can feel incredibly lonely. But here's something psychology shows us. People with complex inner worlds, like the one we've been describing, very often bloom later, not earlier. So, feeling different doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It really just means your brain processes the world with more depth, more sensitivity, and more awareness than the average person. The problem isn't who you are, it's that no one ever really explained to you how your own mind works. And I really want to leave you with this thought. You were never meant to fit in everywhere. You were meant to understand things more deeply. If any of this felt personal to you,
It's because this is for people who are looking for clarity, not more labels. Some minds just need understanding, not fixing. And that's exactly what we explore here.